Yoga is an ancient practice from India that was brought to the West in the late 1800s. Yoga is traditionally an 8-limbed path to achieve liberation. Today, we will focus on the third limb, asana, which consists of yogic poses that will help you strengthen, stretch, and become more aware of your physical body, while reducing stress, anxiety, and lowering the risk of depression, which is all beneficial to your heart health. You'll hear me incorporate the Sanskrit names of the poses throughout practice. This is an important way that we can practice honoring the cultural heritage of yoga. As we move through this practice, please focus on moving in ways that feel appropriate for your body today. Don't worry so much about how the posture looks, but rather give your attention to how it feels. Practice the yogic principle of ahimsa, non-harm, toward yourself. Never do anything that hurts. I'll offer different variations throughout class, and please remember that you're in control of your practice, so you can always modify it to work for you. If you ever feel fatigued or overwhelmed, please take a break and return to the practice when you're ready. Please consult your healthcare provider before beginning a new exercise routine. The use of props is strongly encouraged. 2 foam blocks, 1 strap, and 1 folded blanket is ideal. If you don't have these tools, household items can be substituted for the props. 2 large toilet paper rolls work for blocks, a belt or long dish towel for the strap, and a blanket or towel folded neatly. Let's begin in an easy seated posture. If you're seated on a blanket, scoot to the very edge of it. As you arrive, you might soften your gaze or close your eyes. Feel your hips softening into the ground. Feel your spine lengthen. Your core abdominal muscles are gently engaged. Shoulders relaxed, arms relaxed, hands are soft. Breathe naturally as you draw the crown of your head up towards the sky. If you'd like to chant Om to begin your yoga asana practice, I invite you to draw your hands together in Anjali Mudra in front of the heart. Om is a sacred sound that harmonizes the brain, and you could think of it as representing the experience of existence, birth, life, and death. Inhale deeply to chant Om. Release your hands to your legs. If your eyes were closed, gently blink them open. On an inhale, lift your chin towards the sky any amount. On your exhale, lower your chin towards your chest. Keep moving your head in this way 3 to 5 times at your own pace, inhaling as you lift and exhaling as you lower. Keep sitting tall, core muscles gently engaged. And as you're ready, return your head to neutral. Check that you're still seated tall, and inhale to look over your right shoulder. Pause for a breath or two, keeping the jaw soft. Breathe in fully, and as you exhale, look back ahead. Breathe in, and look over your left shoulder as you breathe out. Stay for a few breaths. Notice your shoulders softening, your spine long, your hips relaxed. On an inhale, bring your head back to neutral. Drop your right ear towards your right shoulder and breathe. When you're ready, on an exhale, roll your head forward, moving carefully, bringing your left ear towards your left shoulder. Sit tall and breathe here. And if it feels good, you might begin to roll your head from side to side. As you're ready, return to neutral. Switch the cross of your legs. Now we'll practice lateral spinal stretch. Inhale to reach your arms out wide, up overhead as far as you can. Exhale to lower your right hand to the earth, and the left arm reaches up and over as you fold to the side. With your right hand, you might push the ground away and imagine breathing into your left side body. Sink the left hip to the earth. You might gaze towards your right hand or up towards the sky, or maybe somewhere in between. Anywhere that feels good. One more breath. On an inhale, come back to neutral, reaching both arms up. Exhale, take it to the other side. Left hand grounding down as the right arm reaches up and over. Soften your right hip into the earth. Keep your abdominal muscles engaged and the breath full. Remember that you could look down or up. Notice your next cycle of breath. And on an inhale, come back to center, reaching both arms up. Then exhale, float the arms down by your sides. Some shoulder stretches. Open your arms out wide. Big breath in. And as you exhale, cross the right arm over the body, bracing the elbow area with your left hand. We're still sitting tall and always working within a range that feels comfortable. It might feel good here to add some little neck movement. On an inhale, open your arms out wide, big stretch. Exhale, cross the left arm over your body, bracing the elbow area with your right hand. This exercise is great for our rotator cuffs. On an inhale, open out wide, and exhale, release your hands down. Now we'll transition to send the legs long. Coming into Janu Shirshasana, let's bend the left knee and press the sole of the left foot into the upper right thigh as best you can. Engage the right leg, spreading the toes wide. Sit really tall. Feel your hips anchor into the earth. On an inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, core engaged, hinge forward just as far as you can without rounding the spine. This is where it might be nice to use a strap over the sole of your foot or blocks on either side of your leg. Breathe deeply, about 3 more breaths. Keep pressing the left foot into the right leg. This helps us keep our hips in neutral alignment. And as you're ready, walk your hands back, sitting tall. Plant your left foot as close to the left hip as you comfortably can. You might need to scoop some tissue out of the way here to let you hug your left leg in. On an inhale, reach your right arm up to the sky. And exhale, twist your torso to the left, hooking the right arm around the left leg. You might release the left hand back behind you like a kickstand. Marichyasana twist. Keep the right leg engaged and maybe look over your back shoulder. Let's stay for another full cycle of breath. On an inhale, gently unwind facing forward. Send both legs long. Then fold in your right leg. The right foot presses into the upper left thigh. The left leg is engaged and toes are spread wide. Sink your hips into the ground. On an inhale, reach your arms up. Keep your core engaged as you exhale and hinge forward, reaching towards the left foot, but no worries if you can't reach it. You might use a strap or blocks. Wherever you go, breathe deeply and try to lengthen the spine. Notice if you're clenching the jaw and try to keep it soft. And as you're ready, walk your hands back up the legs, sitting tall. From here, plant your right foot as close to the right hip as you can. Hug the leg in. Remember, you can move tissue out of the way to do that. On an inhale, reach your left arm up to the sky. Exhale and rotate your torso to the right, hugging your left arm around the right leg. The right hand might come back behind you. The spine is long, the breath is full, and perhaps you look over your back shoulder. This is Marichyasana twist. One more breath. Be sure the left leg is still engaged. And then slowly release the shape. Make your way into tabletop position, so hands and knees. This is a nice time to pad with the folded blanket under your knees. And if you're using blocks, you might want to move them to the top of the mat. Spread your fingers comfortably wide and grip with your fingertips. Anchor into the root of your index fingers and thumbs. On an inhale, drop your belly, shoulder blades slide together, lift your gaze. And on an exhale, push the ground away, rounding your spine. Moving through Bidalasana and Marjarasana, cow and cat pose. Inhaling drops the belly, and exhaling lifts the spine. 5 to 8 cycles of breath here. You might close your eyes. Keep in mind that you're in control of your practice, so please only move in ways that feel good to you today. One more cycle of breath, and when you come to your exhale, send your hips back towards your heels, finding Balasana, child's pose. You might keep your arms up overhead, or give your shoulders a break by bringing your hands back by your feet. The forehead might reach the mat. No worries if your hips aren't as low as mine, just do the best you can. As you take a few more breaths in Balasana, child's pose, notice how the breath feels in the body. Imagine expanding your low back with your next inhale and softening with your exhale. As you're ready, we'll all meet with our arms reaching up overhead. Tuck your toes, preparing to find downward facing dog, this triangle shape. Inhale deeply, and as you exhale, start to lift your hips towards the sky. You might take movement like bending your knees or swaying your hips here. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog pose. As you begin to settle in, keep in mind you can always return to child's pose if it becomes too much. Push the ground away, feeling your shoulders slide up a bit. Let your head and neck hang heavy, gazing back between your legs or towards your navel point. Imagine the inner thighs spiraling towards each other into the sky behind you. Keep your core engaged, the breath full, and be sure that the head is relaxed. On an inhale, look forward between your hands. Soft bend in your knees, and exhale, lightly make your way to the top of the mat, hanging in Uttanasana, forward fold. You might keep a soft bend in your knees. You might look side to side or nod your head. You could sway side to side if that feels good. A few more breaths here to explore. Notice your foundation. The second and third toes are centered with the middle of your heel. On an inhale, press into your feet to rise up with a long spine, core muscles engaged. Reach out and up all the way to the sky as high as you can. Exhale to bring your hands down to your heart and then alongside you. Find Tadasana, mountain pose. Feel the bottoms of your feet and how they meet the earth. Engage the muscles of your legs, lifting the kneecaps. Your abdominal muscles are engaged, helping to lift the front hip points. Lengthen your low back. Keep your core engaged as you breathe fully. Lift your shoulders towards your ears and exhale to roll them back and down. You might draw the chin back in space slightly so that the ears are stacked over the shoulders, which are stacked over the hips. On an inhale, slowly sweep your arms out and up, full breath. Keeping the core engaged, exhale to slowly swan dive forward, long back. Your hands touch down on the earth or blocks, and you can step the right foot way back in space. From here, lower your right knee to the earth and untuck the toes. Again, this might be a nice time to put a blanket under your knee. Your hands may stay on the earth, blocks, or move up to your left thigh, your hips, or even up overhead. Anjaneyasana, crescent moon lunge. Let's take about 3 more breaths here, wherever you've gone with it. On your next inhale, reach a little higher and exhale to release your hands to the earth. Tuck your right toes and lift the right knee off of the ground. Again, you can keep your hands grounded, bring them to your front thigh, your hips, or up overhead. Let's stay here for a few breaths, keeping in mind that you can always lower your back knee to the earth if needed. One more inhale and exhale to return your hands to the earth. Step yourself back through plank for a breath. And as you exhale, return to downward facing dog or child's pose, 3 to 5 breaths. Keep in mind, in Adho Mukha Svanasana, it's really about lengthening the spine, so you can always put a little bend in your knees to help. On an inhale, look forward between your hands and exhale to step or swing your right foot to meet the right thumb, transitioning into Anjaneyasana on the other side. Lower your left knee, untuck the toes. Perhaps you keep your hands grounded on the earth. You could also bring your hands to the right thigh, hips, or up overhead. Let's stay for about 3 breaths. On your next inhale, see if you can make the spine a little longer. And exhale, returning the hands to the earth. Tuck your left toes and lift the left knee off of the ground, pressing back through the heel. You may keep your hands as they are, move them to your front thigh, hips, or up overhead. A few more breaths like this. Full inhale, and exhale your hands back to the ground, preparing to take a giant step forward. Inhale, and exhale, the left foot steps to the top of the mat, whatever it takes to get there. Hang heavy, Uttanasana. On an inhale, rise all the way up with a long spine reaching to the sky. And exhale, draw your hands to your heart. On an inhale, reach your arms out and up. Exhale, fold forward. Hands touch down and the left foot steps way back in space. Line up your left arch with the right heel. When you're ready, cartwheel your arms up, settling in for Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. We can check our alignment. Our shoulders are over our hips. We can feel the pinky side edge of our back foot, and we can see the right big toe on the inside of the right knee. Gaze over your right fingertips, keeping the chest broad. See if you can stay for one more full, slow breath. As you're ready, bring your hands to your hips and pivot to straight legs. Heel toe your feet in a bit, landing with the heels pointing in, toes pointing out. Imagine you're leaning back against a wall. Lengthen your low back. Reach your arms up overhead like a star. And exhale, slowly squat down into Utkatada Konasana, goddess pose. Keep lengthening the tailbone down. You might glance down, making sure that you can pretty well see your feet on the inside of your knees and thighs. You might even keep your hands there to help you. Otherwise, return your hands to goddess arms. Breathe deeply. As the tailbone anchors down, the crown of the head floats up. One more breath. From Utkatada Konasana, Inhale deeply and exhale to stand up. Bring your hands to your hips to help you pivot into Virabhadrasana 2 on the other side. Pivot on your right heel, shifting the toes. Bend into your left knee. Adjust your stance as needed so you have heel to arch alignment. Feel the pinky side edge of your right foot and glance down, seeing the left big toe on the inside of the left knee. Anchor your tailbone. Keep the shoulders open wide. Lift the crown of your head and breathe as you gaze over your left fingertips. Notice if you're holding tension in the jaw and try to soften it. One more breath in Warrior 2. As you're ready, return your hands to your hips and pivot back into Goddess pose, taking your time to adjust your feet. Lengthen your low back, reach your arms up with an inhale, and exhale, slide down the imaginary wall. Keep shifting your knees back behind you, knees and toes staying in alignment. One more big breath here. Inhale to stand up tall, and exhale, lower your hands. Make your way back to the top of your mat. On an inhale, reach your arms out and up overhead, and exhale, sit back into Utkatasana, awkward chair pose. You might look like a little zigzag here. Shift your hips back as far as you can. Look down and make sure you can see your toes in front of your knees, and then try to lift your heart, lift your gaze. Reach the arms up overhead. 3 more breaths. Do the best you can. Really engage your gluteal muscles and abdominal muscles. 1 more breath. Breathe in for length and exhale. Stand in Tadasana, mountain pose. From mountain pose, we'll transition into Vrikshasana, tree pose. You can stay at the top of your mat. Bring your left hand to your left hip and engage the left gluteal muscles as you start shifting the weight into your left leg. From here, you can explore. If you're able to lift the right foot off of the ground, that's great. If not, just stay here and explore your balance. You might bend your right knee and open it out wide to the right, propping the right foot against the left ankle. Maybe you can lift it to your shin. Maybe you can bring the right foot above the left knee. Anywhere on the left leg except for on the knee joint is fine. You might bring your hands to your heart space or reach your arms up overhead. Breathe deeply as you gaze at an unmoving point, a drishti. Noticing how your balance is today, keep breathing. See if you can lengthen your spine just a little more. Maybe reach a little higher on your next breath if your arms are up. And on an exhale, slowly release your arms and your right foot. Pause to feel the sensations. When you're ready, bring your right hand to the right hip, engage the right gluteal muscles, and start carrying the weight into your right leg. You might float the left foot off of the ground and perhaps stay right here. Maybe you bend the left knee and open it out wide to the left. Again, the foot can stay near the ankle, come up the calf, or even come up to the thigh. Anywhere except for on the knee joint is fine. As you settle in, you might bring your hands to your heart or up overhead or any way that helps you balance. Breathe deeply. Notice if you're clenching your jaw. See if you can let it go if so. Notice if you're holding your breath and enjoy another full, slow cycle of breath. As you're ready, moving with as much control as you can, slowly release your arms and your foot. Let's make our way back down to a seated posture. Now we'll practice Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. Send your legs out long. If you're using a strap and block, go ahead and have those available. Feel your hips sinking into the earth. Engage your abdominal muscles. Engage your legs, spreading the toes wide. On an inhale, reach your arms up overhead. On an exhale, keeping the belly scooped in, fold forward any amount. Lower your arms down to meet the legs or feet. Perhaps here you loop a strap under your feet. You could rest your hands on blocks, or you could even stack blocks on your legs to rest your head. It's no competition, only go as far as feels good. You could also let your knees bend generously here. You might even loop your arms under your legs. Let's stay for 3 to 5 more breaths. If your mind is feeling very distracted, that's completely normal. You might try to anchor your attention onto the flow of your breath. Breathing in, you know you're breathing in. Breathing out, you know you're breathing out. One more cycle of breath or so. And as you're ready, release Paschimottanasana and sit tall. Plant both feet and make your way onto your spine. Setting up for bridge pose. If you have a block available, you might lift your hips and slide the block under them. Otherwise, bring your heels as close to your hips as you comfortably can. Keep your legs hips distance apart. On an inhale, engage your core muscles and peel the low back off of the earth. Any amount is fine. One by one, walk your shoulders under your body. You could interlace your hands here under your back, or maybe you hold onto the outer edges of your mat. You could also leave your palms firmly planted on the ground. Keep your chin lifted towards the sky. Breathe fully here as you press your feet into the earth, lifting the hips as much as you can. If you ever struggle to breathe fully, it might mean that you've gone too far, in which case you can just back out a bit. Let's stay in Setu Bandha Sharvangasana, bridge pose, one more cycle of breath. As you're ready, release your body back to the mat by walking your shoulders out and sending the hips back to the ground. Open your arms out wide. Hug your knees in towards your chest, any amount. Full breath in. And exhale, let your legs fall off to the right side. Do your best to keep your shoulders anchored on the ground, but don't force it if the left shoulder lifts up. If your blanket or blocks are handy, you might use them under your legs on the right side. Enjoy a few more breaths here, maybe closing your eyes if that feels nice. As you're ready, with an inhale, guide your legs back to neutral. And on an exhale, let your legs fall off to the left side. Settle in as best you can, softening the shoulders towards the earth. Breathe deeply here. Savor another breath or two. Moving slowly, draw your legs back to neutral, and then send both legs long. Release your arms down by your sides. Palms face up. Feet are at least hips distance apart, and then let the legs relax so the feet will probably flop away from each other. Practice softening and relaxing your entire body as we rest here in Shavasana, corpse pose. Trust that this time is valuable, and do your best to keep your mind calm. If you notice your attention being carried away by thoughts, it's perfectly normal. When you notice it happening, simply return your awareness to the present moment by noticing your breath or sensations in the body. You may choose to rest in Shavasana longer. Otherwise, we'll slowly begin to wake the body up by wiggling the fingers and toes, deepening the breath, if you'd like, you might reach your arms up overhead, pointing your toes away from you as you take a full body stretch. Roll onto one side and pause for a breath or two. As you're ready, gently press yourself up, and we'll return to an easy seated posture just as we began. If you'd like to close practice by chanting Om, I invite you to draw your hands together in front of your heart. Inhale deeply to create this harmonizing sound. I hope you enjoyed this practice of yoga asanas. These exercises can offer increased body awareness, physical strength, flexibility, improved mood, and reduced depression or anxiety. Please keep in mind that consistency leads to results. You may consider revisiting these exercises several times each week to experience the benefits.